Smith & Wesson makes some of the most incredible 1911s on the planet. And in this video, I want to show you a comparison between the Performance Center 1911, Smith & Wesson 1911 PC scandium frame, 4.25 inch commander size, versus a very similar gun, the Smith & Wesson E-Class. We'll look at that in a moment. And this video is going to be a side-by-side comparison of these two guns in the $1,500 price point, and which one of these two should you purchase if you decide to buy one. I think a lot of you are going to come back to this video and say, you know, it makes a lot of sense to get a scandium frame 1911 because of the reasons Tom spoke about in this video. And that's what this is all about. I love my steel 1911s. I love them all. But these scandium frames, the lightweight is very special. And this Performance Center, you've seen it on the channel once before in the past, is very special. Now that it's got 300 rounds through it, now I can give you a detailed review on the Performance Center versus the E-Class. Look at the beauty right here. Now let's look at the beauty of the E-Class, and we're going to go from there. Let's take a look at the E-Class next, right now. Here is the Smith & Wesson 1911 E-Class, model SC. First thing you'll notice is that slide is drastically different. Look at the serrations. People say it looks like a fish, it can swim away. Probably one of the most gorgeous 1911s ever produced. And there's nothing wrong with having a beautiful 1911 on your side. And this is a great fighting 1911. They both are, and that's what this is all about. Which one should you get? The Performance Center or the E-Class? This model I own is the SC. We're going to get into it right now. We're going to talk about the fact that it's a scandium frame, very lightweight. Let's compare the differences. I want to talk to you about my experiences in carrying both guns, and most importantly, shooting both guns, and what I found out as far as the differences in both these guns, as far as the price point being in the $1,500 or so range. Let's get into it right now. Welcome to weaponseducation.com. This is going to be an exciting video. I am very proud to bring these premier 1911s to you in one video, comparing the Performance Center 1911 and this gorgeous E-Class model SC 1911 all in one video. And we're going to do a side-by-side comparison right now. First of all, we'll start with the slide. Then we'll talk about craftsmanship and some other things. But as you look at these two slides, they are drastically different. When this slide came out, when this gun came out, and I first showed it on the channel, everyone across the world said this has to be the sexiest, most gorgeous 1911 made. And you know, that does kind of count. It's nice having a nice looking gun. I know there's a lot of purists of 1911 owners who like the old style 1911s. So do I. You know me. I've got a couple of them. But in this video, we're going to focus on these gorgeous scandium frame, lightweight, designed for carry, specifically designed for personal carry because of the lightweight. So, as we talk about the slide, when this came out, and these serrations, people say this gun can like swim away like a fish because the serrations look like fish scales. Just beautiful. And I thought, you just can't beat these serrations. They're just so aggressive. Until this came out. Until this incredible Performance Center came out. Now this serration here, safety check guns of course, is extremely aggressive, and you can tell the touch of the Performance Center. Now keep in mind, we got a price point of $14.50 on this one and $15.60 on this one. Not much of a difference to go from non-Performance Center to Performance Center. Both of them are excellent, and I really want to stress the fact about the weight. So let's stay on track that the fact that they said they put these what's called lightning cuts to reduce weight. The whole thing on these guns is weight. They only weigh 29 ounces each, identical. So if this has the lightning strikes and this one does not, why do they weigh identically the same amount right to the ounce? Well, in my opinion, it's for a couple of reasons. It's because the Performance Center put some heavier duty parts into this gun, such as the grips, for instance. These grips are G10 with wood in them, like a hybrid type of grip. Really trick. I know they look a little outrageous to you possibly, but you know what? When you own this and you put it in your hand, it looks pretty cool. It's pretty striking, and I guess that's the word for it. And then the grips on this, which is beautiful. When I got this first E-Class, the grips, the total G10, no wood. So some weight might be dissipated because the grips are heavier on here. Now, weight is important. I said enough on that. When you carry a 29 ounce, 4.25 inch 1911, very thin. Most 1911s are about 1.25 inches, which I like a lot. Makes them very carryable. These are designed for personal carry. Great for females, great for men. I love my steel 1911s, but when you add a lot of extra weight to a steel 1911 and you carry it, I'm going to show you a carry system here in a moment, a holster and a belt here in a moment. But when you carry this day in, day out, and I love my steel 1911s, these scandium frames sometimes are a pleasure to throw on because you don't know they're there. So keep that in mind. And they will last the test of time. Now, with all that said, let's talk about the difference in the trigger. The trigger on the Performance Center, it comes at 3.5 pounds. It is crisp. Please zoom in here. My wife Tammy, thank you. Look at that. See that play right there? I'm so proud to bring this video to you because no one else that I know of compares these two types of guns. So I hope you appreciate it. And if you're deciding on buying one of these, you probably want to go with the Performance Center. Look at that crisp trigger. Look at that. No. Let's take a look at this one. It's hard to tell, of course, without shooting it. But it's got a little bit more play. And it's nice. It's probably 4.5. And this is more like 4 or 3.5. This is one special 1911 right here. Now, moving on, let's talk about something else. I want to talk about the muzzle. I don't want to touch the guns. Let me hold them just like that. Please zoom in there. And if you could read, or I'll read it for you. It's called the Browning Spherical Barrel Bushing. On this one, the Performance Center, right here. That's an extra $100 alone that the E-Class does not have. For that reason alone, it's better to get the Performance Center one in lieu of the E-Class. Keep that in mind. The next thing I want to tell you about is the top of the slide on both guns. And any 1911 you look at, look how beautiful that sight is. See that? The top of the slide is flattened on both guns. And it's serrated, straight lines to reduce glare on both guns. So both guns are even Steven in that respect. They're not even Steven on the sights. I do not know why the E-Class has the tritium sights and the Performance Center does not. That's something you have to weigh out in your mind. But you have serrations here and also here on both guns to reduce glare on the back of the slide. Your bevel tails are identical. Your trigger is identical as far as looks on both guns. As far as how the magazine pops out, they're identical. What separates the Performance Center from the E-Class is a couple of things. Number one, and I want to be accurate with this, the slide and the way it racks. And this is important, and I have to be honest. The E-Class is nice, okay? It's a nice sliding, it feels pretty good. Nice sliding slide, it feels good. I've had issues where I put magazines into here, popped it right in there, and had a failure to feed before I even shot the gun. Then I've shot the gun, and I've also had failure to feeds with the E-Class. As with the Performance Center, the hand touch, the human beings who take the time to spend all the extra craftsmanship that goes into the Performance Center, this is like glass. It's not even close, folks. I've never had a failure to feed in any shape or form. I've never had a malfunction with the Performance Center. For me personally, going forward, buying Smith handguns, I will only purchase Performance Center, and that's it for me. I'm just, whether it's a Wyatt deep pocket for that revolver, or the 44 mags that they make that are Performance Center, or these 1911s that are Performance Centers, the extra craftsmanship that goes into it is worth a couple of extra bucks. Now, also, for instance, you take a look at the front of the gun here and the serrations. These little things may not mean much to a lot of people. They think, well, I'm going to grab my gun, I'm going to go boom, 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 and hopefully never need it and use it for self-defense. But I tell you what, look at the serrations right here on the Performance Center, and that is one tight lineup of serrations. And I'm going by memory, I think it's 30 lines per inch. This one here, as you can see, is much wider. So therefore, if your hands get sweaty, it's not going to grip as well. Keep that in mind. The Performance Center wins in that category. Both triggers are serrated in the front right here, which is nice. And you want to look at that when you buy a gun. You want to make sure the front of your trigger is serrated so it's not slippery. And what's so nice, of course, about a 1911 is the crisp trigger. And the Performance Center on this Smith 1911 is second to none as far as the trigger. What else can I tell you except that I want to show you how I carry it and what makes the 1911 so special to me. You know I love my Sig Equinoxes, all my P220s, 226s, all my HKs. You know I love them all. That's why we're here, is because I talk about all different types of guns. But the carry method of your gun is huge. This is something I really speak about, my own personal line of leather. And this is bar none. My name is on it, printed right here on the back. Tammy, please zoom in on that if you can see that. Weapons Education. This is a 1911 holster. It's on the website. I'll put the link below. Without a good holster system, look how nice that fits. Look at how thick that is. If you want to squeeze that, it's really not going to squeeze too much. It's very thick gauge leather, and it's going to last the test of time. I wear this 2-3 times a week because I have a lot of different guns. I wear a lot of different holsters, but I wear this a lot. And look how well it's held up over the years. This belt is called Double Ranger Belt. Absolutely gorgeous. You get double going into that buckle there. So, please check out my holsters, and please understand that if you're going to choose one of the two, you can't go wrong the Performance Center. Because the Performance Center just outclasses it. When you shoot it, it's not going to malfunction. It is in a class of its own. The lightweight is amazing. The scandium frame is amazing. There's 3 types of frames, by the way. Steel, scandium, aluminum, and of course polymer. And this scandium frame on both guns is amazing. Both guns are amazing. They're both gorgeous. Go with the Performance Center if you haven't purchased one yet. And if you're going to purchase a Smith in the future, I would go with the Performance Center. And hopefully you'll look up my line of holsters. ArmoryExpressOutlet.com, ArmoryExpressOutlet.com, and you will be pleased. The shoulder holsters are amazing. Thank you for your time. Please share this video with everyone you know. And please subscribe and tell everybody else to subscribe. Thank you for your time. My name is Tom. Check it out. Bye-bye.